Yeah, the difference between GOAT and BOAT in this context is greatest of all time is like all-time greatest achievements relative to the time that they were done at. So in a GOAT conversation, you kind of consider winning RLCS Season 2 to be this a similar sort of accomplishment to winning RLCS Season 7. But in terms of best of all time, you would consider winning RLCS Season 7 to be a bigger achievement than winning RLCS Season 2 because the level of play has increased sevenfold in that time frame. Does that make sense? So yeah, greatest of all time 1v1 would be the player who's achieved the most all time. However, the best of all time 1v1 would be the player who's actually just been the best at any given time. That's why I say Jory is. But yeah, boats for threes. I think you got to say Monkey Moon right now, the boat. Jory is, based on the LAN performance that he just had, I think for that event you can call him like top 2, but not, I don't think he did enough to be best of all time conversation. It was like he was one of the best that weekend, but maybe not all time. I think you got to throw Justin into the conversation for boat. Monkey Moon, Justin, probably just those two, I'd say. Probably just those two. I don't think anyone else is in that level. I don't think anyone else is at their level. Just like I don't think anyone is in the GOAT conversation alongside Fairy and Scrub. I tried to think of a third. I don't think I can. So you probably just say Monkey Moon is the boat, followed by Justin. First Killer peaked high enough to be boat? Well, before this LAN, yeah, but I don't know. Am I the only person who thinks AJ outperformed First Killer? I think First Killer did really well. I think Illusion did really well. I think FaZe were very impressive. But I really think their best player was AJ. Like when I watched the games live, I thought AJ was the most effective player. And when I watch them back, I still think AJ is the most effective player. Like I just saw AJ doing more, and he didn't get his team in trouble as much as First Killer did. Like in the semi-final, First Killer got FaZe in trouble quite a lot actually. Like he kept on making mistakes in defense that would just get FaZe scored on, and he kept on just leaving the ball and putting his teammates under immense pressure because of that. Whereas AJ, I didn't see him making like glaring mistakes like that, and I saw him making just as many, if not more, like big plays. So I think AJ was better than First Killer at this LAN. But for some reason, everybody's just saying First Killer. I think it's kind of like rose-tinted goggles. You know, people like First Killer was so dominant in RLCS Season X that when people watch him play, it's just more memorable. Like he does something and it's naturally more memorable because you're expecting him to do something insane. Or you know, he's got that legacy from RLCS Season X, and this was his his first LAN. So you're like watching him very, very closely, you know? Yeah, kind of like confirmation bias, I guess, as well. Because I would agree, First Killer was the best player in RLCS Season X for NA by far. Easily. But since joining FaZe, I think he's been slightly outperformed by AJ, because I think AJ's been super effective for FaZe in offense, and I think First Killer gets his team in trouble more than people realize in defense by just zooming around and grabbing boosts instead of pressuring the ball, and going for overly mechanical plays instead of just 50-50ing or something safe. When Squishy heard the clip of me refusing to explain in detail why he wasn't in the top 10, he laughed. Well, if you guys really insist, I didn't put Squishy top 10 because similarly to First Killer, I think he got his team in trouble by misplaying too much. So I put other players ahead of him. But I don't know. I don't like to... You guys are just so insistent on making me actually give these takes that fine, I'll do it, but I don't like to do it because it's like not... Well, in this context, it's like these guys did really well. They had great lands, but if you insist on me picking one over another, then I have to talk bad about the one I'm not picking. It's just how it works. But yeah, he didn't have the stats to back up a top 10. And although he had like loads of really good plays in clutch moments, he also had a few pretty big misplays in the final. I mean, if I was NRG watching the final back, I don't think any of them will be happy with how they played. I think that they're going to be happy with the result. I think getting the final, given the context of the weekend, will be quite a satisfying result for NRG, especially since they finished ahead of all the other NA teams. But honestly, watching back the final, I think that they're going to be pretty disappointed with how they played. Well, I know Garrett will definitely be disappointed with how he played because he didn't position very well. But Yeah, Squishy had a few really bad misses where he just whiffed or just got beaten to the ball and then their team got scored on immediately. So he's probably like not going to be happy with that. Like these guys have got really high standards for themselves. But yeah, look to me like under the pressure at the grand final, Justin was by far their most consistent player. I don't know how anyone can say that Squishy was the best player in the final. Like I watched it back multiple times now and I don't see it at all. I think Justin was the most consistent. Yeah, that's what I meant yesterday when I said I didn't really want to go into detail about Squishy not being top 10 because I don't really have anything nice to say on the subject. And I don't really want to speak bad about people in this context because it's the first LAN in 2 years. And I think that they did well. I think there was at least 20 players who had insanely good LANs. But man, you guys just don't stop. You guys are desperate for it, so there you go. I put Squishy outside top 10 because he made too many mistakes. That cost his team dearly. But I want to also like say again, like I've said, I feel like 100 times by now, I thought he was very impressive and I didn't expect him to play that well based on his online form. I didn't think he was going to be that impressive on LAN. So I was very impressed. But I was also impressed with 10 other players, more than them. But yeah, that's why I didn't want to talk about it in detail. Now you probably get it. Now you probably are like, oh, I see. Fair enough. But what's going to happen is people aren't going to be satisfied. Like, see when I say stuff like this, when I say stuff like, I think this player made a lot of mistakes that cost their team in defense, when I say stuff like, I think AJ was more consistent than First Killer, people are like, what? That goes against what I believe in, and I'm not going to believe it, no matter what you say. So I have to literally go and make a video analyzing every single mistake that a player's made before people will ever be like, oh, oh, okay. Nobody ever just goes and looks for themselves to like check if what I'm saying might be true. They just immediately refute what I say. They say, nah, I don't believe it. That goes against what I believe, so I'm not going to believe it, and I'm not going to fact check myself. But I would encourage you guys to go and fact check yourself. If you think that First Killer was FaZe's best player versus NRG, go watch it back. And like really analyze. I don't think you're gonna think that he was if you watch it back. I thought he had a great LAN, but AJ was slightly better. You're lazy. That's the truth, honestly. Like after Smad, I said NA's way too passive, and everybody was like, "No, they're not. NA's aggressive. EU's passive." Instead of going and watching the VODs and seeing that actually I was right. We needed to see it happen on LAN before people were like, "Oh, wait, maybe Johnny and all the EU pros had something. Maybe they actually were onto something there." But yeah, I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to say it. I feel like it doesn't matter how many times I say that I think, player X, player Y had a great LAN and I was very impressed with them. That's never getting clipped and shown to that person. You guys only clip the part of me saying that they, got outperformed by someone, and you show that to them, and then the person's really upset. So you can't really win, and it's why I, won't, take a look at a clip of somebody talking about me and make a judgment call based on that. I'd want to see full context, because I know that it's easy to clip stuff and suddenly think something bad. How do you get good at analyzing Rocket League gameplay at the level you do? I mean, you just watch a lot of Rocket League. That's all you got to do. Just watch a lot of Rocket League. Think about what's happening. Yeah, like the clip where I said Joreuz is the absolute worst player, and then it just cuts. But, obviously the full quote there was Joreuz is the absolute worst player to go up against in a 1v1 position like that. But the clip is brilliant. It's like, Joreuz is the absolute worst player in the world. Cut. Boreas, man. It's like got massively upvoted on the Reddit. People are always like clipping me because I'll say something nice about a player, then I'll say something that maybe I wasn't so impressed about with their play, and then I'll say something else nice about them. People clip the thing in the middle, show that to the player, and the player is like really upset about it, and they don't like look at the full context. But yeah, I do plan on getting around to watching back the grand final on stream. What I might do is I might do a bit of prep off stream, so I'll make a note of all of the key moments. I'll watch through all the replays, make a note of all the key moments, then we could just skip to the relevant bits on stream, and I'll show you guys what is going on. in the final. More content. Not going to happen today, though. That's all the content for today. If you guys want to know, or if you, I don't know, if all you like fans who are just trying to instigate, all you guys are trying to instigate, if you want to, yeah, if you want to know if what I'm saying is true, you got to go watch it yourself for now. Just go watch back the games. Take off your rose tinted goggles. It's Tyler. Thanks for the gifted sub to Maximus Amulus. I appreciate that. Why was Ahmad not on my top 10 list? Because he was very quiet against NRG, and TRK was, I think, like playoff or Swiss stage. Ahmad and TRK were pretty close in how much they were contributing, because Ahmad did a ton in offense and TRK was holding it down at the back. But versus NRG, Ahmad had a pretty quiet series and TRK was just doing everything. So TRK was beast, you know. That's the other crazy thing is I didn't put Ahmad in my top 10. Like, I didn't see anybody complaining about that. I feel like everyone who's made a top 10 put Ahmad in there. I didn't. I put TRK in there. Like, I felt like I had a few like players in there in my top 10 that not many people would have put in. Because most people just like look at the top clips of the day and that's their top 10. They base it on that. They're like, oh, Ahmad scored a crazy goal, Squishy scored a crazy goal. They're both definitely top 10. Oh, Farskiller scored a really crazy goal with Illusion passing to him. Maybe they're both top 10. Like, I've seen people put Farskiller Illusion top 10, which is fair enough. I'm sure you can come up with a case for it, but I thought AJ was better. Ahmad doesn't have fanboys like Squashy does. It's true. He could one day, though. Ahmad's got a play style that could be extremely, extremely popular to watch.